If I had a dollar for every time somebody asked me how I'm able to do it all, I'd probably be a very rich woman. I know it looks like I have it all going on, and I do, and we do as a family. But today I'm here to tell you how I keep it up or how I try to keep up and the areas that I have help. It's just me on the mic today, giving you a peek into a typical day in my life. And let me tell you, I always kind of get a little nervous for doing a solo episode. For whatever reason, it just doesn't feel natural to me to just sit in front of a screen by myself and talk. I feel much more comfortable when I can see somebody else and I know that there's somebody else that I'm interacting with. But so you are going to walk away from this episode ready to start building your own routine that will trick people into thinking that you are doing it all without actually doing it all, just like I do. It's the secret. So let's get started. You are listening to Act to Impact with Brandi DeVries. That's me. This is a show dedicated to fueling the fire within anyone to ignite action and inspire others to make an impact. Through heartfelt stories of resilience, hope, and community, I share my personal experience as a longtime fundraiser and advocate for national nonprofit Children's Cancer Research Fund. I invite pediatric cancer families to tell their stories and highlight individuals who are using their unique gifts to create a positive impact. Each episode will inspire you to become aware of your untapped potential, connect with causes close to your heart, and take action to make a lasting impact. It's time to ignite action. All right, welcome friends to Act to Impact. I am Brandi DeVries if you are listening for the very first time. So you chose a special episode to tune into and listen to for the first time. This is not a typical episode for me. Typically, I am interviewing people. We are talking to pediatric cancer families. I am sharing stories of people who are making an impact in their corner of the world and allowing them to share their purpose and their heart of service with all of the listeners on Act to Impact. This episode is all about how we do it all. I think it's such a huge compliment when people tell me that they don't know how I do it with everything that I have going on. But the key is really building a routine that works for you and your family. And also just being okay asking for help when you need it. Asking for help is not something that comes naturally to me. I'm an Aquarius. And if there's any other Aquariuses out there, asking for help is the last thing you possibly want to do. But knowing my schedule and knowing Cole's schedule, I really have to lean in to Cole's flexible work schedule, especially in the afternoons, because that's when it allows me to get a lot of stuff done. Cole does so much for our family in the afternoons, which allows me then to lean into the morning. So I'm more of a morning person. Cole's more of an afternoon person. He likes to sleep in. He likes to wake up as late as he possibly can. And if you would ask him, he probably says, I like to wake up as early as I possibly can, which in some cases is true. A lot of the times it's not. But I want to walk you through to start with what a morning routine looks like in our house. And like I said, the morning is where I carry the weight in the house. And it really sets the tone for my day with this routine that I have in place. So obviously the first thing I do is I wake up, and Butters, our little Cocker Spaniel, who is almost 4 years old, she sleeps in Bane's room. So usually as I'm going out to the kitchen to heat up my water to make for my detox water, I can start hearing her wake up. She jumps off of Bane's bed. I can hear her little paws on the floor, and she scratches at his door. So whoops, I almost spilled my coffee. So the first thing I do is I let her out, and I have to watch to make sure she goes to the bathroom. She's a little bit of a high maintenance dog. So while she's going to the bathroom, I'm finishing up getting my detox water ready. I'm getting my supplements ready. So the first thing I do in the morning is have that warm glass of my detox water. It is good for my gut. It is good for skin health, and it is good for detoxification. In the morning, I drink a lot of beverages. I find that that's the easiest way for me to get in my water intake during the day because for a long time I was not good about drinking water and getting my water in. So this is a way that I have found that helps me is if I do it right away in the morning. So I drink 16 ounces of that warm detox water that I create, which is 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of pure lemon juice, a quarter of a teaspoon of cinnamon, quarter of a teaspoon of turmeric, a dash or two of cayenne pepper, and then a half a teaspoon of ground ginger. And then I put in a little bit of raw honey in that too with the hot water, stir it up, and I drink that first things first. The next thing I do is get my electrolyte water ready. In my electrolyte water, which is probably about another 16 ounces that I drink after my detox tea, I put in 1 scoop of electrolyte powder. I put in TMG lean powder, which that stuff is magic. We'll talk about that more later, I think. And then I also put in L-glutamine. I take that twice a day too. So I mix that all up in my water. And then it is time for me to get ready. Something that I have recently started doing as I'm getting ready for work, and it takes a little bit of extra time, but it's so worth it. Like I look forward to it every morning, is dry brushing. I am on this dry brushing journey right now. So I start at my feet, work my way up my whole body to my hands and dry brush. Now it's time for me to start getting myself ready for work because I get myself ready for work before I wake Bane up. So Bane wakes up about 6:30. So I'm doing all these things before 6:30 a.m. And then we have implemented a little bit of a routine for Bane too, like I'm sure many parents do. And I have him, he knows at what times, if he looks at his clock, what times he should be doing certain things. So sometimes it takes him a little while to get going. So from like 6:30 to 6:40 is kind of his wake up time, pick out his clothes. I come in his room, see how he's doing, and then I read him what what the option is for breakfast, which is usually not a good option. I would just wish he would eat at home, but he likes eating at school. And then I read him what it is for lunch. And then he decides if he wants to pack a lunch for school and then what he also wants to eat for breakfast before he goes to school, because what he's getting at school is like sugar bomb packaged breakfast foods. So I try to make sure that he's got some type of protein or fruit in him before he heads out the door. Then at about 6:45, 6:50, he's done eating, it's brushed teeth, go to the bathroom. We make sure we're totally dressed by 7 a.m. and then we head out the door at about 7:05. We try to wait as long as possible before we have to go out the door to the bus because especially in the winter, it's cold. On those nice days in the spring and in the fall, it's like, okay, we'll walk outside a little bit earlier and just sit out there and wait for the bus. That's not a problem. But in the winter, it's a different story. So then I walk back to the house. I grab my things, and let's be honest, sometimes I have to come back into the house again because I forgot something. It's mom brain. But I usually really try to avoid this by putting everything I need in the morning in the same spot the night before. That usually includes my purse for work, my gym bag if I'm going to the gym afterwards, and then my lunch bag for work. And I make sure it's all together so that when I come back into the house, I can just grab that and head right into my car and take off for work. It usually takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to get to work, depending on the traffic. So not too bad. And this is usually when I listen to a podcast. So right now I am usually listening to a church sermon from over the weekend on Sunday, especially Monday mornings. I do that. There's a podcast that I really enjoy called The Confidence Podcast with Trish Blackwell that she comes out with a new episode every Tuesday morning. And they're usually like 30 to 45-minute episodes. So I listen to those in the morning. I also like listening to a podcast called The Every Girl. It's fun and lighthearted. And then also Culture Apothecary with Alex Clark. Those are the podcasts that I have in rotation. Mel Robbins is also another one that's in that rotation sometimes too, depending on what the topic is. And then, of course, on Wednesdays, I listen to Act to Impact. No shame in listening to my own podcast. I like listening back to the podcast because it helps me determine like, oh, how could I have asked a different question? How does it sound? How that type of thing. How does the flow and the cadence go? And it helps me really learn to make future episodes even better. Okay. So here is what I am missing right now, though, in my morning winter routine, because my routine in the winter when Bane is in school and it's colder out and darker out is different than when Bane's not in school in the summer, is light out, and it's warmer out. So right now I am missing in my morning routine morning walks. In the summer, when Bane's not in school, I'm either going to the gym early in the morning so that I can enjoy the nice afternoons when I get done with work and then just enjoy more time with Bane and Cole, or I do a morning walk. I also am missing my daily action thoughts and action prompts. I just can't fit everything in the morning. And as much as I really want to do those daily action thoughts and prompts, because things will pop in my head and I'm like, oh, I need to get this. It takes time to post them and maybe edit them a little tiny bit and put them into a reel or a story. And so it just takes me a little bit more time. And I only have so much time between walking from the bus stop and walking to the house. And it just doesn't give me enough time to do that. So I have put those on pause. I do hope to bring them back. I like doing them. They're fun to post and do. And it's just kind of like things that pop into my head that I want to share with people. And I have received responses from people that they like them too, and that they were looking forward to those, and they liked that they were little things that they could implement in their day right away. So I'm hoping to bring those back. And because they're such a huge part of Act to Impact as well, to talk about how we build awareness on a daily basis, to connect to organizations and people, and then to take action with those causes that are close to our heart. So we will get back to that as soon as I have more than a minute between the bus stop and the car and my house and the car this spring and this summer, and then in the early fall again. So we'll get back on track with those. Okay, so now at work, how do I stick to a routine at work that fuels me for the day, that keeps me hydrated and keeps me ready for my afternoon workouts? Because, like I said, the afternoons are when I am able to work out now. And because I'm able to do that, because Cole has a flexible schedule. So, a lot of the time when I get to work, I eat breakfast at my desk, and I typically have the same breakfast almost every single morning. That helps me have a little bit more time before I leave the house as well by not stopping to eat breakfast at home. So I eat my breakfast at my desk, and then I have a stand up desk, which I love. And so I stand at my desk as much as I possibly can because I feel like since I'm not able to get in those morning walks, standing at my desk just makes me feel a little bit better and it allows me to move a little bit more. Maybe it's in my head, I don't know, but I like it and I think that it does really help me out. Also, I make sure that I'm continuing to take my supplements. When I get to work, I take 3 supplements and then I make my coffee. And something that I've been really liking is I've been putting a superfood creamer into my coffee that really boosts my focus. It sounds crazy, but I just feel like I am way more honed in to my work. I'm focused. I'm not, yeah, I just like how it makes me feel. It just makes me feel a little bit more energetic, but it doesn't give me like brain fog. I think it almost like helps cut some of like the caffeine or something in the coffee, but they work together really well. So another thing I do at work is I am pretty scheduled with when I drink my water. So I have my coffee from, like say 8 to 10. So I keep like a big venti Starbucks cup at my desk and I fill that up at 10 a.m. and I drink that. Usually I'll have a snack in the morning, drink some more water, and then I give my legs a little bit of a rest. This is when I tend to like sit down, usually at my desk. I'll put my lower my desk and sit down and then have lunch. So then after lunch, though, I do stand up again. And I do this because I really feel like it helps the digestive process. Like when you're sitting down, it's harder to digest your food. So I stand up. It helps me feel not as bloated and it doesn't make me feel like as full as if I would continue sitting when I'm eating down. Another thing I do to make me feel good at work, because I'm not doing a lot of movement, is I drink some of my lemon and ginger digestive tea right after lunch. Another hot beverage will help with digestion, and I finish out my day after that. I might have a little snack in there. I drink some more water, of course, and then it is time to drive home at 4:30. So the traffic in the afternoons is a lot worse than it is in the mornings. And so I use the drive time to do a few things. This is the time I either use to call people on my way home or as I'm on my way to the gym, or I'm kind of sitting in silence. Every once in a while, I'm just after a day, I'm like, you know what? I just need quiet. I need to sit in silence, reflect. Sometimes I pray, I talk to God. Sometimes I give myself some pep talks. It just feels really nice to know that that longer window of time is time for me. And so I really do. Like I look forward to that time. It helps make the drive not so mundane and it gives me something to look forward to. So I'm even thinking about sometimes at the end of the day, okay, who am I going to call? Who do I really want to talk to on my way home? And it gives me something to look forward to during that drive. So after work, once I am done with that 45-minute drive, this is family time and the time I have for fun stuff that I enjoy doing. And don't get me wrong, like there are days like I'm sitting at my desk, standing at my desk, and I'm like, oof, I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to be done with work because we have something to look forward to. A lot of the times, like just working out is something that I look forward to. I start to get antsy about like 2:30, 3:30 that I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to get to the gym, get some of this energy out, get some of this stress out. It's just something fun that I look forward to. But again, I am able to do this and look forward to these things because I know Cole is holding down the fort at home and with Bane. And the afternoons are really where Cole is pulling that weight for our family. And of course, like my afternoon routine, it really revolves around what Bane has going on for evening activities. And during the winter months, Cole has baseball, his baseball instructor 3 times a week. So there are some nights when I say goodbye to him in the morning, even though he's still sleeping, and I don't see him until he gets home at 9 p.m. So on those days that I'm able to go to the gym, sometimes that means taking Bane with me too, if I have to. But I usually try to get to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. I also work out every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. It is the first thing I do on Saturday. It really sets the tone for my weekend. And I love having this time on the weekend because it really gets my body going. And usually when I'm at the gym at 8 a.m., there's not a lot of people coming in until around 9 a.m. at the gym I go to. So I really love having the whole place to myself. So if you go to the gym I do, don't start coming at 8. Stay at your 9 o'clock time. Okay. I also like to use this time after work on the days that I'm not working out to book any appointments that I may need to have with the goal that I will always try to get home by 6 p.m. Even on the days that I work out, it's tight sometimes, but I really try to get home by 6 p.m. And the key for making this afternoon routine work is that I'm not going home and cooking dinner. Cole is already at home cooking dinner while I'm at the gym or running my errands or at an appointment because he can be home by 5 p.m. And he really actually likes being able to cook dinner. He looks forward to it himself. Like that's the thing he looks forward to. And we make it really easy in our family because we kind of always have the same meals all the time. But I am so grateful that Cole, one, has the flexibility to be home at a decent time, and two, that he actually likes and enjoys to do the cooking. But the balance is that I cook on the weekends. Cole does baseball again on the weekends, or he is showing clients houses because he's in real estate or he's doing an open house. So my time to shine in the kitchen is on the weekends. And I can elaborate a little bit more on how we balance that as well. in a little bit because I'll talk about our weekend schedule and stuff too. But in the evenings, after dinner, after we've sat down as a family, and that's one thing that's really important for us as part of our routine is we sit down at the table as a family. We put devices away. We make sure that it's our time to talk, catch up, and then also we clear the table together too. I mostly clear the table because Cole has cooked. And so more of that balance is Cole cooks, I clean the table, but Bane makes sure that he cleans his spot and he puts things away. And if it's a night that we need to unload the dishwasher, Bane is always on silverware duty. So that's something that just works really, really well for our family. So before Bane goes to bed, it is really all about him. I try not to be on my phone, but it is hard because I like pick up my phone to log some food or I add something to the grocery list. And then, of course, I see there's a text from somebody or somebody called. And then I kind of go down a rabbit hole, which I'd really try hard not to do, but it's tough. Gosh, you just get sucked into that phone sometimes. But we try to play games as a family. We like cards, board games, or sometimes, especially if it's been a long day, we'll watch part of a movie. We'll watch a movie for 20 minutes. So it might take us like a week or so to finish a movie, but it's kind of nice. Then we get into Bane's bedtime routine and we actually start putting him to bed around 7:30. So I don't have a lot of time with him in the evening. So we try to make the most of our bedtime routine together. Bane is very particular about who brushes his teeth at night. And so Cole helps him brush his teeth. And then he transitions to me, and I always read him his bedtime stories. And because he's in the Spanish dual language program at Edina, we read a Spanish book together. He reads a Spanish book, I should say, to me. And then I'll read an English book to him. And he's also learning English. And so he will also attempt to read an English story to me as well. We say our prayers. We talk about what we were proud of that day. I ask him to give me an example of something he's proud of. And usually the things that he's proud of is much different than the things that I'm proud of for him. I want him to say things like, I am proud that I held the door open for somebody at school or somebody fell on the playground and I helped them up. But usually it's like, I am proud that I made 5 touchdowns at kids club today, which is fine. But we're just trying to get in the habit of having him talk about things that he is proud of the day to build some confidence. Sometimes he'll have me ask me if I'll do like an imaginative story. We have one that's been going on for about 4 weeks now about a little doggy that crossed the ocean and was really brave and landed in England and got picked up by a prince and is now living in a castle and burying bones in a castle. So it's kind of fun and silly, but it's kind of fun to use my imagination like that. And that he likes hearing me tell stories that I've just made up in my head as well. So after Bane is in bed, this is where I have about 30 minutes before I start my wind down routine to get things checked off my list. So I will check emails. I will do things for Act to Impact. I will research anything. If there's something that Bane needs done for school, I do that at this time. And I usually just give myself 30 minutes. I time block that and it works well because usually Cole, he's doing other things as well. Like Cole likes to trigger point at night or he's doing something for a client. So we have like a little bit of time to do our own things before we spend some time together. And then I start getting ready for my wind down routine. So shower, skincare. I also then, after I put like all my skincare on, I'll put laundry away that time or sort laundry, that type of thing. I also like to edit some content too at night, either before or after my wind down routine. It doesn't take long. And find that if I just take small pockets of time before, let's say, I release an episode to create like that reel and the promo for it, that works pretty well for me. And then Cole and we get to hang out, just the two of us. We try to make time every single night to hang out together. Sometimes it's watching a TV episode that we watch together, just hanging out. Sometimes he's trigger pointing in the living room and I'm sitting there next to him editing a podcast or something. But we're together and we talk. But I try to leave my phone then upstairs and when we're just like kind of spending some time together. And I also grab my lemon ginger tea for the night and usually just hang out, drink my tea before going to bed. And also, before I go to bed, I make sure to take all my supplements, and there are a lot. I recently posted a reel about all my supplements that I did. Let's see if I can list my nightly supplements. First one is magnesium for sure. D and K. I take a scoop of L-glutamine again. I take calcium diglycerate, calcium diglycerate. I can never say some of these words, so sorry. A defenzyme and then a biospore. So quite a few. I also, if I have time, try to prep my beverages for the morning. And then I also always prep my lunch for the next day and I track it. Like I log everything in advance. That keeps me accountable because I'm like, okay, if I've either one, written this down or logged it in my Fitness Pal, like that's what I'm eating. It's set in stone. Don't really deviate from it, but that really helps me keep on track with my diet, I would say, but really my lifestyle nutrition plan. I forgot to mention. Okay, so after I put everything by the door, my lunch is ready. I'm going to bed. Cole and I have spent time together. I'm also doing another thing that's new in addition to the dry brushing. I am doing, well, I guess it's two things. I'm doing a new peptide called CJC, and I'm also doing castor oil in my belly button right before I turn off the lights. So I'm putting the castor oil in my belly button. It's just like a couple drops and I put like this patch over it and then I lay there on my back and that's when I'll journal. And I do this 3-3-3 method, which is about like 3 wins for my day, 3 gratitudes, and 3 things that I am going to do tomorrow that I'm committed to, or 3 things I want to win at the next day. And then maybe I'll read a couple pages of my book or something like that. But I kind of like let that castor oil, I don't know, seep into my belly button. I am scared that if I like roll over too soon on putting it on, like it's going to like come out of my belly button and not be effective. So I don't know. I do think though that it's helping because when I wake up in the morning, I feel like my stomach, like I'm not as bloated. I feel like there's more definition in my ab area. I just feel like I have a flatter stomach. I feel really good. Like I don't feel uncomfortable. Like, you have to go to the bathroom or something like that. I think it really helps with my digestion. So I'm going to keep doing the castor oil. I really do like it. So all that in my day brings me to about 10:30 p.m. or so, and then it is time to go to bed. Okay, how do we make a day like that work for us? When I have the mornings kind of taken care of, Cole has the afternoons taken care of, but we got all this other stuff going on in between. Like, how do we really make that work? So there's a couple things. The first thing that we do is we use a shared calendar on our phones. So I also color code our family calendar items. So our family color is blue. So if it's something that impacts both Cole and I, then I mark it as blue and it goes, and it's called the home shared calendar, and it goes to both of our calendars and our phones. That seems to work really well. Has there been times where I've forgotten to put stuff on? Yes, absolutely. But usually we're pretty good about checking in with each other before we schedule things too. So like if Cole's doing an open house, he'll call me quick and say, hey, I had an open house come up on this day. I don't see anything on the calendar, but can you just verify or whatever? Or same with like if I have an appointment, then I know he might have something going on about say, hey, do you have anything going on? Didn't see anything on the calendar. Just want to check, make sure it's okay. And it works really well. Also, another thing that works is we try to make sure that we are putting in the travel times and that reminder feature as well. That was something that Cole brought up and said, hey, when you make these calendar invites, please make sure that you're including a travel time. That's what he needs. I don't necessarily need it as much because it's just in my head, but it really works for him. Also, anything goes on this calendar. My eyebrow appointments, my nail appointments, Cole's baseball, all of Bane's things, like really babysitters, like what time a babysitter is coming, who that babysitter is, when I booked them. Everything goes on there, and it really does. It really helps. There are some things that are just solely mine that don't affect Cole, like during like a weekend day when I know he's got baseball. I don't want a calendar invite coming up and popping up and interrupting him during a lesson. So that's really the only time where I don't put things on that shared calendar. And same with like Cole. Like if he during the week work day from 7:30 to 4:30 when I'm at work, he doesn't put his things on the calendar because it doesn't really matter for me. So that's really the only time. But I color code all mine in pink. Of course, I'm sure you're not surprised. So, okay. So when it comes to scheduling maintenance appointments that I have, I mean, I'm really not that high maintenance, but there's just appointments that you have to schedule. I try really hard not to schedule those maintenance appointments during the weekday unless I have to. And if I do, I schedule it immediately after work on a day that I'm not going to the gym. Or I wait and schedule those appointments until after 8 p.m. if possible. If not possible, Saturday morning before noon after the gym is usually when I schedule all my appointments or run errands because I also try not to go leave the house and come back, leave the house, come back. And so that's what really works for me. I like to be home on the weekends. I've really kind of actually turned into a homebody lately and I'm kind of loving it. January was really slow. February got a little bit busier, but I just loved being able to be home and not leave the house. I've also kind of gotten to a point where I don't want to drive as much during the week unless it's to work basically, because by the time the weekend runs comes around, like I'm just over driving to work and back from work and dealing with traffic. And I don't want to get into my car again unless I absolutely have to. Another way that Cole and I kind of make everything work when it comes to our grocery shopping and our meal prep is that we use a shared grocery calendar. And for the most part, Cole is the one who does the bulk of the grocery shopping during the weekday when it's not busy because he has that flexibility. And also, we buy like the same foods on repeat. So we run, I guess, what you would want to call like kind of like a pantry kitchen because the same foods are on our list. We kind of make the same foods all the time because we do pretty much only eat like whole foods. We have very little packaged foods at our house. And so it really just makes it easier too because then Cole knows what he wants to cook every night for dinner. And when I say cook, I actually mean grill. He grills a lot all year round, even if it's freezing and snowing or windy and raining, he's out there on the grill. It's right off of our back door. We also have a pretty good rotation of like the foods that we're cooking. So like usually on the weekend, he's grilling ground beef and grilling grilled peppers because I use the ground beef for my meat cereal in the mornings during the week and Cole uses peppers in his eggs every morning. And you guys all know that I love my meat cereal, so don't knock it unless you've tried it. And as a reminder, I always mix it with almond butter and blueberries or bananas. It's actually so delicious and savory, sweet, so good. So yeah, I don't personally eat a ton of the peppers because they do have a little bit of a higher sugar content. Next up, we usually will grill up chicken breasts. Chicken breasts are great because we have them for dinner, make salads. We'll like to make like little bowls of like veggies and rice and that type of thing. And then we have them for lunches for the next following days. Then typically we move on to cooking ground turkey. And then we usually throw in some salmon during the week or on the weekend because salmon is one of Bane's favorite foods. And then we just kind of repeat that same cycle of the food again. On the weekends or on the nights that I'm in charge of dinner, when I don't have the luxury of Cole being there to grill because he has baseball, I love getting the crock pot out. I will get it prepped the night before, cut up any veggies, get the meat prepared that I'm going to be putting in the crock pot. I put whatever I can in the crock pot the night before, and then in the morning, I'll just add like the liquid or the meat and put it together and turn it on. And it really, helps me out. And it's a great way for me to try like new crock pot recipes and that type of thing. And then also on the weekends, I love trying new recipes. I kind of have like a database that I keep that I can pull to. So when it's the weekend and we're like, oh, what are we having for dinner? I look at my list of recipes that I've saved and I'll say, okay, here's a couple that I like. What do you think, Cole? And then we just make them. Another way that we make things work in our family, in addition to the calendar and the grocery list, is we're able to do it all as a family because we figure out what our priorities are and we talk about them. So Sunday night, I'll say, okay, Cole, I got a really busy week. I have this going on, but it's really important to me that I need to go to the gym at least times this week. I'm thinking this will work. What do you think? Or I'll let him know that I have podcast episodes that I'm going to be recording on the weekend. And what are you and Bane going to do while I do that? And usually they'll try to do something fun. Sundays are kind of like Bane and I's days. We go to church and Sunday school. We'll go out for donuts afterwards. Bane's recently gotten into sushi, so we've picked up some sushi a couple times. He plays with friends. We go try to do something fun together. And then also so we just figure out what our priorities are in advance. And so there's kind of no surprises. And it really helps us to be able to accomplish everything that we all want to do together. I also want to circle back to that 3-3-3 method that I mentioned, where I write down the 3 things every night that I want to accomplish. The thing that really does keep me accountable is that last 3. Like, write down the 3 things that you want to win at the next day. That really drives my checklist because it makes it so it's not overwhelming for me the next day and it holds me accountable because I am someone that if it gets written down, it's getting done. Simple as that, which is why sometimes on a Saturday or Sunday morning, if there are more than 3 things that I need to focus on over the weekend, I'll make like a separate list anyway. When I first get up that morning, even before I go to the gym, it just like helps like center me and reminds me what those priorities are. And then I can work with Cole too on like how I'm going to get those done. Another thing that I do is I build in time to my schedule well in advance, especially when it comes to batching all my podcast recordings. People will say, oh my gosh, you're doing 5 interviews in a day? How are you doing that? Well, I'm scheduling them. I'm putting them on my calendar. I'm preparing for them each a week in advance. A week in advance before I do the recordings, I will send out the meeting recording invite, and I also send all my guests the questions that they're going to get so that they're prepared. I do my scripts, like the intros and the closings in advance, and I have an outline, and that really helps me to be able to do everything that I want to accomplish on a weekend, especially on the days that I'm doing these big batching podcast recordings. And then I also schedule them out like when I'm going to upload them. I upload them way in advance as well. I create the reels from each of the episodes in advance. And this is just most helpful to me because I feel like it doesn't create that burnout. I'm not getting overwhelmed and it's giving me time to plan. I think that if I waited until like the last minute to upload the episode on when I knew it was coming out, I think I would just really get overwhelmed. I feel like I would be stressed out. Actually, I know I would. I know myself. I don't like waiting until the last minute to do things. I like doing things as much in advance as I possibly can so that when it comes down to it, it's like, that's done. Now, what else can I do? What other things are on my list that I can take care of? So if you have a podcast or if you're thinking about starting a podcast, I feel like I can really give people a lot of helpful tips on how to create a routine and a cadence for posting. So creating your podcast, creating the content for it, and posting and uploading them so you're not feeling overwhelmed every time it's time for a podcast. Also, I made the decision because of my schedule to only put a podcast out every other week. Doing a podcast and posting one every single week would really be stressful and overwhelming to me because I am working full time because of all the family things that we have that are going on that are a priority before the podcast, as much as this podcast fills my cup and I love connecting with the guests, this is what really has to take place so that I can do everything, so I can do both, so I can be a mom, so I can work, and I can have a podcast. I just found a rhythm that worked for us. Also, of course, this goes without saying, we communicate as a family. We ask questions, we figure out what is on each other's calendar, our calendars, and we talk about the things that we have coming up each week. So as a family, and when it comes to Bane, what do we do when there are priorities that come up that fall on the same day and the same time? If it's Bane's activity, we lean into letting him decide. And I don't try to dictate what we feel like he should pick one thing over the another. We want him to build the confidence and the decision-making ability, even if that means that he can't do something and that there are consequences. We want him to choose what that priority is for him. So we let him choose what those activities are. But most of all, if there are priorities and activities that fall at the same day and the same time, we work together as a team. And there are times when we don't, and we have to stop and remind ourselves that, hey, we are a team and we can figure this out. And the way that we figure it out is together. So I would say that is one of the biggest things for us that we keep in the forefront is we are a team. We are a small family team of 3. We are small but mighty. But we have a saying in our family, and it's teamwork makes the dream work. And if there's any time that we're struggling with something and we're feeling overwhelmed, we'll just pause and I'll be like, hey, Bane, what does teamwork do? Teamwork makes the dream work, he'll say. So that's something that we really do hold on to. In closing, if there is one thing that I hope you take away from this episode, that it's this. No one is doing it alone. Not me, not you, not Cole, not anyone. I tried to stress that. And that's why I showed my gratitude and my thanks to Cole and how we're working as a team to make things work in my schedule. So while it may look like we're doing it all, it's really a routine. It's communication. It's the teamwork. It's sometimes, and most of the time, giving ourselves permission to ask for help. You don't need like a perfect system or a perfect routine. You have to remember to give yourself grace and to be flexible in those routines. But you do and should find a routine or a system that works for you in your different seasons, just like we have for during the school and during the non-school days during the summer. Start small, pick like 3 priorities that you want to focus on. With those 3 priorities, prep what you can, communicate that to your partner as you can. And then, of course, like let go of all those other things that don't fall in those priorities. Don't try to do those. Okay. I didn't talk about all the things that I'm not doing. I should probably do a whole nother episode on talking about all the things that I'm not doing to make everything else work. But remember, the goal, it's not to do it all. It is to just build that family life that feels like you're supporting one another and aligns with your goals as a family and is something that you can find that is sustainable, something that you can continue to do on a daily basis. I hope that showing you my daily routine and our weekend routine helps you in figuring out what will be sustainable for you and your family. So like I said, we are a team over here, but I'm also a teammate for you too. I'm cheering you on as you figure out how you're building that routine for you and your family. You're figuring out what fuels that fire within you, and a fire that is not going to create burnout either. So get to it. Light that fire, ignite action, and just do it one day at a time. You've been listening to Act to Impact with Brandi DeVries. If this show ignited your fire and inspired you to take action to make an impact, please share this episode with a friend, leave a 5-star review, or write a review to let others know how the show impacted you. I can't wait to see the action you are taking to make an impact, and I'd love for you to share that with our community. Go ahead and take me on social media as you are out making an impact in the world. Do you have a story to share and want to be a guest on Act to Impact? I'd love to connect with you.